and then I reward myself after that 6-minute plank with another cup of tea or coffee, and that's how I start to build on daily victories. After my exercises, I do my 30 minutes of reading, daily victory. After my 30 minutes of reading, I knock out 10 phone calls, and then I hit the showers. And I do all of this behaviors to fill myself up with positivity and propel myself forward for a positive, productive, purposeful day. And it's all around daily victories. The second strategy that I use is, let me get through this. My apologies. You know, as I was going through my recovery, I fell into a deep depression because I had lost my capability. I didn't know what my bigger future was going to be. I didn't know what my capability was going to be. I was sleeping 18 hours a day at one point, 15 hours a day, and then 12 hours a day. And I just didn't know what my life was going to be. I came out of that deep depression understanding that victory over self was going to be the key to my bigger future. The second strategy I use is something called my pace, my race, or my race and my pace. I focus on my behavior rather than focusing on other people's behavior and competing with them. You know, Grant Hicks runs a business, very successful. Cherian runs a business, very successful. I have my business, and I run my business in my way, and my numbers are my numbers. And I don't need to compare myself numerically with Cherian or Grant. What I do is I surround myself with those types of people to propel my race and my pace forward. And what I've learned over the years is that the consistency of my behavior was probably the greatest single factor to my success. I just got up every day, made my calls, saw the people, and success followed me. And what was driving me all along the way was the mere fact that I had a burning desire. I had a purpose that was just unwavering. I was not going to not succeed, quite frankly, because the burning desire to educate people on the power of having income protection or accident and illness or disability protection, however you define it, was burning so hard inside of me that I was not going to fail. The other thing I learned about successful people is, hey, our mission is never done. And many of us in the industry, we stay in the industry for our lifetimes, and we do it because our mission means that much to us. As it says, miles to go before we sleep. One of my favorite strategies, and again, it's just a strategy I use every day to kind of keep me focused and keep me on point, is every one of us has excuses in life, and they show up every day, and it's our job is to overcome them. And so how did I overcome the excuses to not do my workouts, to not make my phone calls, to not do my 6-minute plank? I use something called the thought zapper, and it's this rubber band around my wrist. And every time that excuse shows up, oh, Mr. Big, he won't take my call, or he's going to say no, or it prevents me from making that phone call, I pull back on that thought zapper and I give it a good snap, and that just gets me focused on making the calls. So how do you use a thought zapper in your life to overcome your excuses? One of the other strategies I use is by serving people. And by serving others, I overcome my adversity. There's a great story about the Boston Marathon and the marathon runner, Desi Linden. She's a professional athlete. Her teammate on the Olympics was Shalene Flanagan, and they actually trained together. Well, they trained for the Boston Marathon 3 years ago, and they lined up at the starting line. Shalene, Desi, the gun goes off, and they take off. About 3 miles into the race, Desi turns to Shalene and says, "Geez, I've got a stomach ache. I'm just not feeling it today. I'm going to drop out, probably 5-6 miles. But before I do that, I'll run with you and pace you up to the leaders." Well, they ran a few more miles, and then Shalene had to go to the bathroom, and so she quickly ran to the restroom, and Desi stayed behind and waited for Shalene. And when Shalene got back, she paced her up to the lead group. Now, they're about 10 miles into the race, and Desi is pacing Shalene right up to the leadership group. She got there, and Shalene started to fade away, and Desi kind of kept on. Well, they got to mile 18, which is the Heartbreak Hills. Desi was at the front of the race. She started to pull ahead, and all of a sudden she had a half-mile lead, and then it was a mile lead. And Desi went on to win that race. She was the first American in 33 years to win the Boston Marathon. And what's the point of my story? 2 points. One, champions even have excuses that they have to overcome. And number two, when you serve others, you will serve yourself and can go on and celebrate victory. By serving others, Desi forgot about her own internal issues, her own internal frustrations and pain. And by serving others, she went on to victory. And the last one, which I'll just spend a few minutes on, I've used this day in and day out over my course of my career, is positioning. I position myself to meet people. I position myself to get the body of knowledge that I want. I position myself around people like Grant Hicks so I can learn from the best and apply it to my environment. I surround myself at MDRT because it brings me so much value that I can apply it to my business, to my personal life, and it's a great way to live. And I don't meet Cherian unless I'm a member of MDRT. And so think about how you are surrounding yourself with people, with resources, and with programs that's accelerating your bigger future. What you feed your mind, what you feed your body, what you feed your soul, all of that is contributing to your bigger future. Thank you for the opportunity to visit with you today. Feel welcome to connect up with any one of us. We're happy to spend time with you to help accelerate your bigger future, and wishing you all the best. Thank you.
John, very well done. Fantastic. If you can, Cherian needs to be the host. If you can make him the host now, we'll get Cherian back here. John, I wrote down a couple notes. I got to share this with you. I wrote down two things that, is going to change my thinking. Start with positivity and a purposeful day. Start with positivity and a purposeful day. I talked about having a perfect week. I'm now going to talk about having the perfect day. What does that look like? I love that. That's brilliant.
I call it the right fit day.
Yeah.
The right fit day.
Yeah. The second thing I wrote down, when you serve others, you serve yourself. It's so simple and profound, but I'm going to put that up above my desk. That's going to be a new saying. You got some great stuff. Thank you. Cherian, over to you.
Thank you, Grant. Thank you, John. It was, again, nice to hear from you, your story,